Good morning, folks. Hi, Pog. Hello. We are continuing with the concept of changing seasons, moving into acknowledging the seasonal changes, the way that it's changing our diet, how we're kind of being in the world. Last week we talked about the using bitters and aromatic plants to support digestion, since the food that we're eating changes dramatically as we move from summer, late summer into fall into winter. This is a related recipe, but different. But I love this recipe so much, and I don't think that I've ever done a class on it. So this is focusing on those aromatics that we talked about last week, those aromatic seeds specifically. So there are certain seeds that hold a lot of aromatic compounds like fennel, which we used last week. And those aromatics, as we discussed, are antispasmodic, they're warming, they're stimulating, they support digestive processes. Limitations, of course, in the use of a tincture is that there are some people who don't want to use alcohol. And while we could make a glycerite, glycerin isn't the best solvent for some of those compounds. So as always, when we want something that's going to be stable and effective, and maybe the solvent that we're using isn't optimal, we can go to just eating it, right? And whenever we're eating something, we're just bypassing the whole solvent issue anyway. It's easier to use, it's more accessible to people, and this is just super tasty. So what we're gonna be doing is looking at those aromatic seeds plus a few other ones, how they support digestion specifically. So this is not using those bitter compounds, although we've also kind of gone around that a little bit. But we're going to take these aromatic compounds and we're going to toast them, and then we're going to lightly coat them with a sugar. And so we have two types of sugar. We have cane sugar and coconut sugar, and I really love the coconut sugar used to coat them, because it gives just a really faint sweetness, and it's really caramely. It's like a molassesy flavor. And what the heating does, and that coating of sugar does, is it changes the structure of the seeds. I mean, you don't have to toast them like this. You can take the seeds just like this and throw them into your mouth and eat them, and that's great. It's a wonderful way of using it. But by toasting them in this way, it makes them really light and crispy and crunchy and really delightful to eat. And when we're combining them together, you get this kind of complexity of flavor and also complexity of chemistry. And of course, while we're going to be looking at a number of different things, you could use this recipe on one of the ingredients in here, or whatever other ingredients that you have that are kind of fit into this category. Right? Hi, Marcos. Good morning. You are going to love this class. Afternoon. Good morning, afternoon. No, I'm not. And you're fine you didn't offend. We are going to be, so I'm going to go over some of those seeds, some of the other additions. Now, I do need a volunteer here. Y'all can't help me. Because one of the seeds that I want to use is cardamom. And so I started to decorticate the cardamom, the cortex, Latin for the bark, right? Cortex is the seed coating here. So cardamom is one of the seeds that we're going to be using, but we don't want to use it like this. So we need to open up the cardamom seed and release those, the cardamom pod, and release the seeds. So with someone like, so the way that you're going to do this, let me demonstrate for you. And then, so we're going to take the seeds. Here, you know what, folks? I need you to come down here, because y'all need to see what's going on here. To open these, put them on a flat surface, and then take a flat surface and just crush them. That's going to open up the seed pod, and then you can just break it open, and there's the pink seeds right there that I just flung all over the place. And so you're going to want to get those seeds out of there. Now you can see sometimes, Let's look. And just dump them right in there. They get sneaky and they'll hide in the crevices.
There's a lot.
And then you're going to go in with a small spoon over there. And then break them up because they also tend to be a little bit sticky. I also want to show you, just with this, that you can see different colors of the seeds. So they'll go from pale to a very dark brownish black color. And when they're brownish black, those are fully mature. The flavor is the most pronounced. The aromatic compounds are the highest. So it's okay if you have some that are not quite ripe. They're going to be more bitter and less aromatic, and the ripe ones are going to be more aromatic and less bitter. But cardamom brings us two qualities, which is bitter and aromatic. So it's all gonna balance out in the end. So, and you can take those.
Thank you so much. Oh no!
That's okay because they're in the cortex, and we're going to throw that away in. We don't have to obey that 5 minute rule.
Sorry for everybody online.
There you go. They're strong. They can handle it. Okay. We're making, sorry, hi Ella. We're making a candied aromatic spice blend for digestive support. All right, so cardamom, one of the seeds that we're going to be using, and again, these seeds primarily are aromatic. So those aromatic seeds are generally going to be antispasmodic in the gut, and so that's going to help with bloating, gas, abdominal distension, farting, burping, all of these manifestations of poor, weak, or overwhelmed digestion. So this is just one of the things that happens whenever we have these seasonal changes and the dietary changes that come along with those. Sometimes it just takes a little while for the digestion to catch up with that. Or sometimes you're just eating a lot of foods that you're not used to as we go into this holiday season. And so that's also going to overwhelm the digestion. So certainly we want to use those bitters that we made last week before meals to improve digestion. But this is just another option. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so cardamom, bitter and aromatic. And so you could, with the cardamom seeds, these can be used as a direct replacement for a bitters and aromatic tincture like we made last week without using the alcohol. Another bitter aromatic that we're going to be using in here that is not a seed is orange peel. So orange peel is, in Chinese herbalism, is quite often used as a bitter compound, right? The pith on the inside of the orange is bitter, right? That's one of the limitations of orange peel in culinary usage is that the pith does have a bitter flavor that sometimes gets in the way of the pure orange flavor that some people are looking at. But we know, as herbalists, we know that pith is extremely valuable as a source of flavonoids, which are really strengthening to tissues, strongly anti-inflammatory, antioxidant. That bitterness is also going to be supportive to the digestion, and that the zest also has those aromatics that are also going to be carminative. And again, we introduced that word last week when we were making our tincture, and we'll introduce it again this week. This is the action really that we're looking for from the formula that we're making today, is a carminative seed blend. So the orange peel is a nice addition to this, and the orange peel is really crispy and lovely, and it's just beautiful when it's candied like this. So let's see. Another one, which is not an aromatic seed, but I really like it in this formula and also supportive to the digestion in a different way, is milk thistle seed. So milk thistle seed, also really, really nice to chew on. It's a very nice flavor related to sunflower seed. So it has a little bit of sort of a sunflower seedy, proteinaceous, fatty flavor, which is also going to modulate the a very aromatic, strong flavor of everything else that's in this formula, right? Some people are not going to want such a strong formula. This is just going to balance it out just a little bit. Here we use that part of some different citrus to make marmalade and sweet chutneys. Oh, absolutely, Marcus. Yeah, that would be delicious. And yeah, and you get so much more flavor, right, from that part because there's so much more flavor in that zest, and you get to use the whole plant. Let's see. So we have traditionally used, of course, we had to have it in a formula like this, is fennel seeds. So fennel seeds, certainly one of the best known seeds as a pure carminative, is something that's going to be really effective for reducing gas, bloating, all of that stuff that carminatives do. Antispasmodic for the gut, very effective and delicious for those people who like it. I don't mind it in a formula like this, where it's balanced with other things. I just have a problem with it by itself, or when it's overwhelmed, or when it has just a really high flavor profile in a blend. But I'll have like a little bit here and not get too whiny about it. Not get too whiny. Now, it is important that while fennel is the primary plant, it's important to remember that though fennel is the primary seed that we consider carminative, all of the aromatic seeds that are used in cooking are carminative, and all can be used in this formula. So dill seeds are great in this. Caraway seeds are great in this. I have cumin seeds. Cumin is also a really, really great carminative. So you don't have to go out and buy a seed that you don't have in this recipe, because you likely have aromatic seeds in your kitchen, some type of aromatic seed, and that's the one that you can use for this. And again, you don't have to do any of the recipe. You can just reach in there and grab the seed and throw it in your mouth. But it's tastier, as anyone who's worked with cumin knows, right? Cumin is way tastier toasted than it is raw. So we're going to really bring out some of those flavors. Coriander seed. I like coriander seed because it's crunchy and it's kind of light in here. It doesn't have a really strong flavor, but again, I think that's kind of nice. We don't need everything to be like at 11 in this formula. And then the final whole compound that we're going to be using is cinnamon bark. So chopped cinnamon bark. Now this is Cinnamomum zealandicum. This is Ceylon cinnamon, and so the bark is very, very thin and brittle, and it's very easy to nibble on. It's very sweet and light. This is Ceylon cinnamon is also canela, the Mexican cinnamon. So this is the most medicinal of the cinnamons, and it is the sweetest, and it is the thinnest. So it's very easy and very pleasant to chew on in a formula like this. Coriander seed, it does have that lovely lemony flavor. It's just not such a strong lemony flavor, right? It's just kind of, it's more muted, but muted is okay. So those are the players in the formula. So we can throw all of these together. This is one of those soup formulas, the things that you can just throw all together in a pot and it's going to taste fine. As long as you know the qualities of the individual components, you can throw them in there, and you don't really need a recipe. Just whatever you use is okay, right? There's not really chemistry involved here, except for the melting point of sugar and the differences in sugars. So again, you don't have to make this with a sugar component to it, but I'm gonna, because this is also sort of a fun recipe to have around for the holidays. If you're looking for something to make for people to give out as gifts, this is an awesome thing to give out as a gift. It's very easy to make, and it's a really lovely, lovely, lovely thing for people to have around, because it's beautiful and it's tasty and it's sweet and it's yummy, and you can like sprinkle it on stuff too, right? It doesn't need to be just a carminative blend. This, I mean, you'll see it when we finish. It's going to be a beautiful presentation. It's going to look really, really lovely, and so it could be sprinkled on stuff just to make the stuff look all fancy like. Right? So sugars. You do need to use, if you're going to use sugar, so I'm going to stop qualifying my use of sugar from here on in. This is my last time qualifying my use of sugar. If you are going to use a sugar, it needs to be a sugar. It can't be a sugar substitute, because what we're looking for is caramelization. We're looking for the sugar to melt and lightly coat the outsides, and so we can't use stevia, we can't use xylitol, we can't use anything like that. We need sugar. Coconut sugar, as I said, is nice. The drawback to coconut sugar is that there's more, thank you so much for that. There's more plant material in there, right? That's one of the benefits of it, is that there's more plant material in it. There's fiber, but fiber is cellulose, and cellulose burns, and it burns at a relatively low temperature, only a little bit higher than the temperature that the sugar melts at, which means that the time that it takes from going to melted to burnt is very, very, very low. And so it's really, really easy to get to burn the coconut sugar and to have it have that burnt flavor. That just means you need to pay attention. I can pay attention. So we're not going to use that much because we're just looking for really light coating here. So I'm going to use about that much. And it's going to take a little while to come up to heat, particularly because I'm using a Pyrex pot, and I have that for two reasons. Number one, so y'all can kind of see into it, but number two, because glass is a poor conductor of heat, and so there's not going to be tremendous changes in the temperature, right? It gradually increases the temperature just through diffusion through the glass, and so that's going to allow me to catch the sugar before it gets to burning, just because of the rise of temperature is more gradual. So I'm going to start with the things that need a little bit longer or aren't damaged by longer heating, and that would be the milk thistle seeds. Milk thistle is actually enhanced by toasting. We can increase the bioavailability of the silymarin, the flavolignin compounds that are in milk thistle, by toasting them. So putting them in first is going to give them a little bit extra time with the heat, where we want to minimize heat with the seeds, because too long exposure to heat for the seeds is of course going to release too many of those aromatics, and they're going to leave the seed itself. Now, the fact that they're a seed tells us that they have protection. They also have a cortex like the cardamom. It's just a smaller one, and it's small enough that we're just going to ingest it without worrying about taking it off. But that cortex does provide some protection to the compounds inside. There are the fennel seeds, and there are the coriander seeds, and there are the cumin seeds. I should have put the cumin seeds in first because they really like that heat. Oh, there we go. The sugar's starting to melt. That went more quickly. So you can feel it's starting to go as the implement starts to catch on the bottom, and as it starts to melt, I'm going to move to a flat-based spoon, because I really want to. Can you smell that seed? The cumin is really releasing very, very nicely here. I want to be able to clear the bottom of the pot, and so a flat surface is able to clear the flat bottom of the pot more readily than a curved surface. So I'm going on and off of the heat as I'm looking for the grains of sugar. I don't know if you can see those on the side. There is still some sugar. It was starting to melt, and so I took it off, and now it's I can still see some granular sugar there. So we're just going to kind of continue this until the sugar looks evenly dispersed and I don't see any more granules. So I'm going to throw in the cinnamon now, and then the orange peel and the cardamom, and continue to stir these. And I want to get that, that aromatic hit again too, because when those aromatics are released, you know that you've really kind of hit the highest temperature that the seed likes, and that's when we're going to get that crispy consistency to that outer cortex, right? So here again we have. Woo. No, I don't. We have a really great source. I'm hoping that didn't. I don't think so. I think that's okay. No, we have a great source that we get this wonderful orange peel from. It's really easy to candy your own orange peel. Hi. So you certainly can. We're done with this. You certainly can. But, all right. So now I can see that there's no sugar crystals on the outer side. See how they're all dissolved. And I don't see any clumps of the sugar in here. And it's cleared on the base. You can see sort of the light sugar coating on the surface of the base, and that is the consistency of the coating on the seeds. It's just a really light little sugar coating. Yeah, I know, and you can smell that, yes. So they're all, this is so good. All right, so we're going to, that's it. That is the recipe. I'm gonna pull it out and let it cool, because we do not want to leave it on the heat any longer than we need to. Because those aromatics, all those aromatics that we're smelling, means that those are aromatics that are leaving the plant material, right? Every deliciousness that we smell. It's a little bit of deliciousness that isn't there, which doesn't mean that it's deliciousness lost, right? We're smelling it, we're getting some benefits. All right, so you do want to remember that whenever you're dealing with sugar, sugar has a really, it gets very hot and it stays hot. So you want to be really careful whenever you're working with anything where you have to melt sugar, because you will burn yourself very readily. So we're going to let this cool for a little bit. And I'm going to scoop some off of the top, actually, so I can send it around for you all to try. Because I'm a person who can't wait whenever it says, ooh, and let it cool all the way. It's like, well, that's not going to happen. I'll let it cool a little bit. But come on. All right. There's a little candy. Oh, see, this is the good stuff. Here we have a little candy cluster, right? There's a couple of little seeds there and some. See, that's kind of like I did not even mind. Oh. No, hold up your hand. These are little nibbly. Polly, I'm so sorry. I would have kept some out with a little bit without any cinnamon in it. What do you think? Isn't that yummy? Yeah. Yep. That's it. It is a really easy recipe, infinitely variable. It is really stable. And it looks beautiful. You didn't see the look. It is a really gorgeous, that they're lightly little shine on them from the sugar coating. Yeah, they're just beautiful. Light, crispy, right? The crispiness is really pleasant. Yeah, and very complex. Now, you could also use all of these and make teas and make glycerides and make tinctures. You could grind them into a powder, this exact same recipe, grind it into a powder, mix it into honey and make an electuary. You could make a decoction of these and add sugar and make a syrup, right? All of these you could use in any of the medicine making forms that we've gone over the years. This is widely variable. This type of recipe, though, is really something that these seeds. These are kind of the only things that we can do this with, so it makes them pretty special. Yeah.
Can you like munch on that all day, or is it like a cat?
No, you can munch on that all day.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it is sugar. But it's not much sugar.
It's like a tablespoon.
This is a lot. Yeah. That was not that much sugar, and it was coconut sugar, which has a much lower glycemic index. It does have a couple of grams of fiber in with it. The amount of glucose in there compared to the cane sugar of sucrose compared to the cane sugar is significantly smaller. So yeah, it isn't that much, but also you could really go to town on this. So, yeah.
Do you mind repeating the recipe?
Yeah, it is, no, I don't mind at all. Cardamom,
Okay.
orange peel, cumin, fennel, coriander, milk thistle seeds, cinnamon, and orange peel. Is that everything?
Fennel.
And fennel. Thank you. I did say that. Okay. Yeah.
And then coconut sugar. 7 days.
Oh, Marcus! Boo, 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 boo. Why, yes, you can. And I have right here, Marcus. If you wanted to say, for example, maybe you wanted to add a little bit of ginger to it. For example, Marcus, you just dried ginger doesn't work so well in this recipe because you know how fibrous it is? It's not pleasant to nibble on dried ginger in this. But what you can do, and what I meant to do, is when you are stirring it with the sugar, right, you can add a little bit of a powder. So powdered ginger, powdered cinnamon, powdered any other things, right? Any other things that you want powdered in there, you could throw in there. And that's how you can throw some ginger in there. Yep, absolutely you can. It's a brilliant idea. Should have thought of it. Yeah, great idea. You and I, we're that. I gotcha. Yeah, that's the recipe. Any questions about it? No, it's really easy, fast.
Just a pencil.
Didn't even, I know, it's a great recipe. Yeah. All right. I wish I had more to talk to you about it, but can I write, yes, I can write the list on the board. Absolutely, Marcus.
We're done.
You betcha. So it was, can you read what I'm, yeah, you can.
Cinnamon.
Thank you. Cumin.
Coriander.
Coriander. One of those things that herbalists notice that no one else does, there's a lot of herbs that begin with the letter C. A lot of herbs that begin with the letter C. So many herbs that begin with the letter C. That was all. And then we used coconut sugar was the other thing. That was all? Okay, yeah. All right. There you go.
Thank you.
So, folks, you can grab a little bag right there and a label. and make a label, and then you can come and get some of this to take home with you. If any of you all are local, you can come by. We'll have some at the counter at the shop, so you can come in and taste some today or tomorrow if you come by. Otherwise, I will see you next week.